Hi, this is Brett Putnam with the Pelican School of American English, and this video is on 10 colloquial expressions. 10 colloquial expressions from the Pelican School of American English and Culture. A colloquial expression is an everyday phrase that people use to describe situations or things in a colorful way. Here's our 10 colloquial expressions. 1, it's not my cup of tea. 2, to catch some Z's. 3, riding shotgun. 4, when pigs fly. 5, to bite the dust. 6, asleep at the wheel. 7, to take a stab at something. 8, to stand in another man's shoes. 9, to be on the same page. And 10, whistling in the dark. All right. Let's look at the first one. It's not my cup of tea. It's not my cup of tea means I don't like it. It doesn't agree with me. We could say jazz is not my cup of tea. So if your friend invites you to a jazz concert, but you don't like jazz music, you can say, it's not my cup of tea. Jazz is not my cup of tea. I'm going to catch some Z's. I'm going to catch some Z's means I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to sleep now. I'm going to catch some Z's. Riding shotgun. Riding shotgun means sitting in the passenger seat next to the driver in a car. And so often when a group of friends, say 4 or 5 friends, are all getting in the car together, one of them or more will say, I call shotgun. I call shotgun. And that means they want to ride in the front seat next to the driver. So when you're riding shotgun, that means you're riding in the front seat next to the driver. And this phrase comes from the Old West. Here we can see in this painting of the stagecoach, we have a driver on the left, and then we have a fellow who's riding shotgun, and his job is to protect the stagecoach from attack. And in this case, there's a group of Indians on horseback who are pursuing the stagecoach, and the fellow on the right is riding shotgun. When pigs fly. When pigs fly is something that will never happen. So we say this, we use this colloquial expression when we want to say, well, that's something that will never happen. So for instance, let's say your friend wants to go out to a certain restaurant, but you don't like that restaurant at all. You had a bad experience at that restaurant, and you say, I'll go to that restaurant when pigs fly, and not before. When pigs fly. To bite the dust. To bite the dust means to die, to fail, to end, to expire. To bite the dust. Asleep at the wheel. Asleep at the wheel means not paying attention. So, for instance, if you think your boss is doing a bad job at running the company, he's not paying attention to what's happening, to what's going on with the business, you can say, my boss is asleep at the wheel. He's not paying attention. To take a stab at something. To take a stab at something is to try to do something, to make an attempt. So, for instance, let's say you want to learn how to play the guitar. You could say, I'm going to take a stab at learning to play guitar. Or you want to learn a foreign language like Italian or Spanish, you could say, I'm going to take a stab at learning Italian, or I'm going to take a stab at learning Spanish. To stand in another man's shoes. To stand in another man's shoes means to understand another person's experience or circumstances. So we could say, you should never criticize someone unless you have had an opportunity to stand in their shoes. Uh, so to stand in another man's shoes or another person's shoes or another woman's shoes is to understand their experience or their circumstances. To get on the same page. To get on the same page is to come to an agreement about something. So you may be in a business meeting and your group at your company needs to agree on something, to agree on a plan of action going forward for your company. You could say, let's all get on the same page about this. Let's come to an agreement. Whistling in the dark. Whistling in the dark is faking confidence in the presence of danger or adversity. So you may be going through a difficult time in life, or you may be in a certain situation which is scary or frightening. And you could say, I'm whistling in the dark. And I'm whistling in the dark to keep my courage up. I'm whistling in the dark. So that's 10 colloquial expressions from the Pelican School of American English and Culture, where we specialized in advanced learning of the English language through the study of American journalism, history, literature, and art. Join us at the Pelican School of American English and Culture.